Shades of Green radio show simulcast on KDWN 720 AM and KDWN 101.5 FM in Las Vegas. Our show is produced by Green Alliance of Nevada, sponsored by NV Energy, and I'm your host, Stan Hannell. Today we've been speaking with Dr. Marcus Burley from the Desert Research Institute about the Solar Nexus project. It was a $24 million project over 5 years that was awarded to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, the Desert Research Institute, and the University of Nevada, Reno, targeted toward high-level graduate students to do real groundbreaking research on the connections between solar energy installations as well as water resources and how that affects the environment in the state as we grow more and more solar facilities. So it was really interesting. You had four main goals within the program that you were trying to achieve. Can you talk a bit more about those?
Yes, absolutely. So the primary goal was to really advance new knowledge and discoveries in the solar energy, water, and environment arena. So a large part of the project really was about research, building research capacity, but we also had a cyber infrastructure component. Cyber infrastructure basically means to improve the connection between researchers using computers, using the internet, helping researchers out, for example, with data warehouses, and just make sure we have the best possible computer infrastructure in the state to do our research.
That's fantastic. So fast modeling and the ability to spread that information around to different people involved in the project. That's great. And as you were mentioning, there were 48 faculty members involved, 14 technicians, over 30 PhD level and master's level students. So really a good chance, an opportunity for them to collaborate, and not just in pure research, but also in other areas, other disciplines as well.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. And the diversity component, this grant came from the National Science Foundation through their EPSCoR project, which is, I looked it up, it's an experimental program for stimulation of competitive research. And it's a way that the National Science Foundation likes to distribute the money it has to all states, so that even states that don't have the high-end university systems like California and Texas and Massachusetts get a chance to be involved in cutting-edge research. So I think that was really good. So what was your diversity goal in all of that?
As you said, Stan, besides building research infrastructure in the state, the goal was also to basically educate the next generation of scientists and researchers. So starting with K through 12, the kids in school, basically to explain them. So what is engineering, what is science, related to this topic, solar energy, water, and the environment. And then what we called building a STEM pipeline, so a science, technology, engineering, and math pipeline that would then bring these kids eventually to the university into undergraduate and graduate programs
here. These kids are your farm team for the future here.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
That's great. Yeah, and then also the economic dimension, workforce development and education. That's unusual for a project of this scope to look at that side, as well as an external engagement with the public. Can you talk a little bit more about the outreach that was involved with that?
Yeah, it's the reason why I'm here today. Actually, is to talk about the project. So scientists and engineers are used to talk to fellow scientists and engineers, and so they're pretty good at that. But once they should explain what they do to the community, that's a whole different story. And so this project specifically had one goal that was about communicating research to the community, but also to reach out to industry agencies and other stakeholders in the public domain, because it's not just about doing our research and then communicating out what we have done, but it's also about learning what are the different issues, the different perspectives. For example, from industry, what's really cutting edge, what's on their mind, what do they need in the future. You mentioned the economic component, so it's basically a collaborative effort between industry and science or engineering eventually that brings us further.
Right, engineering is kind of the application of science, creating practical things that come out of your research that we can use to help our economy, to create jobs, to create new industries. So that's really exciting. That's fantastic. Just looking back on some of these things. Yeah, it's wrapping up this year. What are the next steps for this project? And I think the 5-year program began in 2013, and here we are at 2018. So you're coming to the end of that cycle. So what are your next steps for this project, and what resources did the project bring to Nevada that are now available for all of us, I guess?
Maybe I can start with the resources first. So what was really special about this project, we could bring 4 new faculty to the state.
Wow.
We had this lack of expertise in, for example, advanced coating technologies to develop new solar cells. We also needed somebody who could do nanotechnology.
Wow.
And use
Yeah.
nanotechnology to clean up water. We were able to hire a restoration ecologist that could look into question of, if you disturb desert environments, how do you
Right.
bring them back to their original state, as well as a very important component too when you're talking about solar is the economy of solar. So how are these two connected? So we brought these 4 very talented young researchers to the state that will hopefully now in the future help us to do great research.
And influence other students over time. That's
Absolutely.
great. That's fantastic. Okay, yeah, and so basically the Solar Nexus project, we talked about the external engagement and the marketing. You've got an event coming up on October 9th. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we have an event organized at the Springs Preserve on October 9th. It's basically just to show what we've done in the project. It's
so
free.
Like an open
it's
house.
Open house. It's like an open house of the project. That's
Excellent.
very well put. It's basically meet and greet the scientists, the faculty, the students, and just learn a little bit more about what the project was about and what it brought to Nevada and how it's hopefully going to be useful for the future.
That sounds like fun. That's going to be at the Springs Preserve. It's on October 9th. I think runs from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. is kind of the meet and greet part, and then 6:30 to 8 p.m. you're going to have a panel of some of the scientists that were involved in the project, just talking about the results of it, and that'll be at the Desert Living Center on the Springs Preserve campus. So that looks like fun. I'll put that on my calendar for sure. Thank you so much. Also in our studio here we have Elspeth DiMarzio, who's with the Sierra Club. And how did the Sierra Club become involved in this project?
Yeah, the Sierra Club is, we're a national nonprofit organization that works on environmental issues. So we're always looking for local partners to work with on events relating to especially our fragile desert environment in the Southwest. So we have an existing group of members and supporters who are particularly interested in events like this. So we're partnering with UNLV and DRI, and but we hope everyone listening today can also join us for the event, because it's going to be a great kind of space for the community to get together and learn about some of the newest science around solar technology in our state.
And it's ever changing, right?
Yeah,
we have
absolutely.
300 days of sunshine a year here, so it's amazing how so quickly we've adapted to it. We're harnessing it. We're using it for our homes and for our transportation, for electric cars.
That's right.
So that's been incredible to see. What other benefits does a transition to a clean energy economy bring to our state besides kind of decarbonizing our grid, making us more independent?
Yeah, I mean, I think decarbonizing the grid is obviously a huge one, so that's a top priority. But for our local Southern Nevada and Nevada economy, it means good jobs for the state. We partner with IBEW on a number of things, and
That's the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Yeah,
all right.
thank you, Stan, that's right.
No worries.
So,
we like to stretch our
Right.
acronyms out.
Yeah, thank you. So, solar jobs in our state mean good, union jobs, and it's super important to our economy.
Fantastic. We're going to talk about more of that when we come back.